have not spoken to yet. My name is Degina Wetherill, and I'm the Director of Recruitment within InUni UK division, a company of global university systems overseeing international students recruitment for a number of our UK partner universities. And today I'm extremely excited to talk about one of our premium partner university, University of Gloucestershire. And specifically, we'll be covering University of Gloucestershire School of Business, which is incredibly popular amongst international and local students. I'm excited to be joined by colleagues from the University of Gloucestershire. So we have Asli here, who is academic course lead at the University of Gloucestershire Business School. And we have Priyanka here, who is regional manager for South Asia at the university as well. I'm also joined by my colleague Anand here from InUni marketing team, who will be helping us to run this webinar smoothly. Before we start, just a few housekeeping rules. You're all on mute. If you'd like to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. Just pop them into the Q&A section. So that's Q&A section rather than chat section. And we will take them from there at the very end of the webinar. Other than that, sit back and enjoy. And I hope you find this webinar useful, exciting, and hopefully inspiring if you're a student to come to the University of Gloucestershire. All right, so it's over to you, Asli.
All right, good morning, everyone from here in the UK. My name is Asli. I'm the academic course leader for the MBA Global. So welcome to the University of Gloucestershire. Today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to present the qualities or the special features of this MBA Global. And one of the things that we're really proud of here at the University of Gloucestershire is with our slogan, which is meet every ambition. So it is our aim and objective to meet every single of the students' ambitions. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to give the overview of the MBA Global, the unique features of this innovative course, and ways in which we prepare you to meet your ambitions and also for your careers as future leaders of the industry. And I'm also going to explore the reasons why the MBA Global is the right choice for you. One thing that we're really proud of what we do here at the University of Gloucestershire within this MBA Global course, where we give you the access to the real world business experience and challenges. We do have what we call existing within the business school, a student-led consultancy advice that will help you to do that for the community and also for our year in industry model. So before I carry on with my presentations, I would like to share with you a video that I've made earlier about that will explain this course further. Enjoy the video.
MBA Global is a unique two-year course that offers the students to immerse themselves in the world of business. We expose the students to the issues and challenges faced by the global businesses. We're offering through specialist pathway for the student to choose that fits with their career ambitions. There's also an option for the students to go for a 12-month placement that will allow students to have that industry working experience in their own career choice.
So MBA Global, they have specialized routes for entrepreneurship, healthcare, finance, marketing. I feel like I'm a bit closer to healthcare. I was working with some pharmacies and hospitals as well, so I thought that it would help me.
I have a background in sports, but I wanted to see how the sports business world looks like, and that placement will give me an opportunity to try out different modules, to try out different job roles and responsibilities and see what works best for me.
I've worked as a financial analyst and as a business analyst. With the writing of academic reports, I've been able to improve on my writing skills, which is very important to what I'm doing.
To see that students coming from a very diverse backgrounds, from different countries, but also their work experience, but they're working well together with each other and helping each other. They have the same ambition and also aspirations.
I didn't have any knowledge of project management before, but with this course, I learned how I can manage different projects, and the jobs I'm doing, it's all relating to what I will learn and what I can do with my career prospects in the future.
It's really great that they have these specialized routes for people who wants to study according to the field. I'm provided with this opportunity to understand the market in depth, so I can prepare myself according to which career section of this industry that I want to get in.
There's a massive difference between how I do things before and now. So I can see that I've acquired, it has sharpened my management skills about different leadership styles that the manager of the future should adopt if you want to stand out in whatever you're doing.
It almost doesn't matter whether you're a fresh graduate or some working experience, because the experience itself within this course will be beneficial for them, regardless whether they have 25 years working experience or whether they just graduated. It's going to be beneficial for them.
Okay, that was the video. You can always watch it on YouTube if you again and again for you to find out more about this course. Okay, so let me go now to explore to you the reason why MBA Global at Gloucestershire Business School. First and foremost, it gives you that opportunity to immerse yourself in the world of business. You have plenty of opportunities to do that here. And you are also engaging with some of the most contemporary challenges faced by the global business leaders. We're looking at the issues such as crisis communications, risk management within the module, what we call the managing business continuity. Obviously, we're going to look at the module on global leadership as well, for example, that you're going to learn that as well. So this applied MBA will provide you with the knowledge foundation of business before offering you the unique opportunity for you to specialize in your own chosen industrial field. So I feel that this is really important for us to build you with the certain foundation before offering you to go into your chosen industrial field. So the second reason why MBA Global at Gloucestershire Business School, because we are focusing on that building that global business foundations, focus on developing the pillars on that business knowledge and skills. So during this program, you will learn a lot, and you also will improve your consultancy skills through the work within the module, and provided significant benefit for your clients as well. There'll be plenty of opportunities for you within this course to work with a real life client and real life case study. So the third reason why MBA Global at the Gloucestershire Business School, this is something quite unique, something that I'm really proud of that we have done here in the Gloucestershire Business School, is that we provide you with a personalized learning experience. You will get a master's degree in MBA Global Business Administration with your own chosen specialized field. For example, we have a specialized field in international supply chain and logistics, international tourism management, data analysis, cyber governance, healthcare leadership, applied entrepreneurship, marketing intelligence, and design management. Now, for those who are really unsure about where they want to go, don't really figure out what the specialist route yet, so we also have what we call the main route of the MBA Global, where you'll be studying the module on strategic consulting project, which is also very exciting specialist route as well. So in fact, majority of our students are staying in this MBA Global, the main route, because they want to study on that subject module. Right. Another reason why MBA Global at Gloucestershire Business School is quite unique is that diversity. That we have students from all over the world, not just only where the students come from, but also with regards to the experience as well. So the current profile of students we have from Malaysia, Myanmar, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, obviously from UK, Jordan, Nigeria, USA, Hong Kong, China. So we have students really from all over the world, and like I said before, it's not just the diversity from where the students come from, but also from their background and work experience. So within the course now, we have someone which is a fresh graduate, age 21, 22, to someone the age of 52, a former company director, a former managing director. So we do have now within my course, someone the age of 52, which is also a former managing director of a global finance company. So he is studying together with a fresh graduate, and for me to see the interactions between them, and it will be quite interesting to see. We also have a strong supportive infrastructure and system. We have a dedicated support system to help students looking for placement and work experience. So we do have a specific department for that and unit to help you to achieve that. We also have what we call a growth hub that we have access to 10,000 employers. And I hope once you're here, you really take advantage of that. And we also have what we call our own internal consultancy firm, a student consultancy firm. We call it 360, and that will help you to get that real life experience. And obviously our tuition fees, my colleague will explain later on, is quite competitive as well. So in summary, this is a quite unique MBA Global course. We provide you with a strong global foundations. We have that personalized learning journey and experience with the option of specialized routes and pathways. You will be part of the community of students. We have established our MBA Global Alumni. We have our MBA Global Society. And you'll be able to interact and work with them with diverse background and work experience. We have a strong supportive infrastructure and system to help students secure work experience and employment in general. And we have the competitive tuition fees and generous international funding as well, right? So I usually like to end my presentation with this quote from Albert Einstein. This is one of my favorite quotes. When Einstein is saying that education is not the learning of facts, but the training of minds to think. Especially nowadays, if you would like to learn about facts, you can always Google it. But what education can help you is how to use those facts intelligently, and how to be able to increase your capacity to be able to understand those facts. So to do that, you need educations, right? Facts is there for you to see, but how to use those facts, how to use it intelligently and increase your understanding, the capacity to understand those facts, you need education that will allow you to think critically and also logically. Okay, right. Feel free to get in touch with me. I'm here to help, to assist you if you have any questions about the course. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, right? I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. So that is all from me. I think I'm bring it back to my colleague, Dagina.
Thank you, Asli. Really insightful information. And I know Priyanka here also wanted to highlight some information on scholarships. Also, just to add, before we go into further information on scholarships, obviously Asli is a team lead for Global MBA, and the information has been presented to you here. But also great news that you can apply for a variety of programs at University of Gloucestershire Business School. So we've recently received confirmation on undergraduate top-up programs, in case if you're a student who studied perhaps HND or started bachelor's degree, but maybe just had 1 year remaining. So depending on the course structure, you might consider applying for a final year of bachelor's at the University of Gloucestershire, which is offered starting September 2024. The university also offers a number of various undergraduate programs, again, postgraduate, including financial technology, including international business, including marketing, etc., as well as DBA program, which we will be talking about tomorrow in more detail. So definitely stay tuned to receive more information on DBA, which is a research program, in case if that's a course you're interested in. And I will leave it to Priyanka now to highlight perhaps scholarships and anything additional you'd like to highlight about UOG Business School. Thank you.
Thank you, Dakina, and thank you, Ashley. That was quite insightful session and information that you've provided. I hope that was really helpful for you guys. In terms of UOG scholarship, as Dakina mentioned, we have started with the scholarship for 2024 intake. That's an automatic scholarship of £1,500. So you don't really have to apply for a separate scholarship, make an application. So nothing is required. You basically need to submit an application in uni, and you will be automatically considered for that particular scholarship, and that's going to be reflected on your offer letter. So yeah, feel free to drop us any questions that you have about the university. If you want to know more about the details about the course modules, just feel free to pop your questions in the chat box, and we are more than happy to answer them for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Priyanka. And yes, very good point. Just a reminder, in case if you're an educational agency, please ensure that you follow correct process. So all your applications need to be filed via GAS Gateway, which is ultimately an agent portal to submit your students' applications. Please aim to provide a fully complete file if possible. So that would obviously include passport, educational documents, proof of English, CV. In case if there are any study gaps, they need to be justified. It's also really important that the CV is up to date and highlight all the students' experience, but also educational qualifications as well. Personal statement, which needs to be obviously specific for the university and for the program that you're applying for, your students applying for. If you're an educational agency, no plagiarism, obviously, that won't be tolerated. So if you're still waiting for few documents, perhaps the student is taking English test, so proof of English is yet to be submitted, that's absolutely fine. But if all documents are already in place, then try to submit complete package of documents. In uni, admissions will then make an initial assessment. And if everything is fine, we will proceed for the next step, which is conditional offer letter. Once conditional offer letter is received, and you would normally receive it also from my team, who is based on the ground, you will see which missing documents are still there, so you can arrange that. But also importantly, you will then need to ensure you book in uni suitability interview at the very soonest, highlighting University of Gloucestershire student ID, which will be specified within the conditional offer letter. Please remember, you wouldn't be able to receive unconditional offer letter, even if you've provided the full file, so all the documents are there, until you've actually passed in uni suitability interview, just to ensure that you've obviously cleared all the steps, and then your file will be referred to the unconditional offer letter stage. So once the interview is cleared, happy days. If you need any support in terms of the suitability interview, I have the team on the ground who is more than happy to help with mock interview sessions, any preparation that might be needed for your students. They're there for you. And currently we have plenty of availability in terms of the actual suitability interview slots. But do keep in mind, the earlier you clear the interview, the better, because when it gets a little bit closer to the intake, or even March, April time, when the recruitment season picks up, it will be busier, meaning you won't be able to secure an interview slot as quickly as you can do it right now. So we do encourage you to submit your applications at the earliest, and then obviously book the interview as well. We will run a session on in-uni suitability interview and admissions items as well, because it will be important for you to understand maybe and to have a refresher on not only how to book interview, but also the expectations from students, what needs to be prepared, which things to consider when booking interviews, when preparing for interviews, and obviously trying to pass the interview. So that will be coming very, very soon. So please don't forget to join that webinar. We will have plenty of webinars for you in the coming days and weeks to ensure you are fully equipped with the knowledge you need on the University of Gloucestershire and also on a uni process, to ensure you submit your outstanding documents or applications, if not done yet, at the soonest, and able to obviously progress to the next stage sooner rather than later. I can see we have some questions coming up, which is great. So let me start with those. Okay, visa rejections. Well, it will be case by case. So depending what the reason for the visa rejection was, it would be considered by the compliance team. So you will need to obviously declare it at the time of application, and then when you have your suitability interview, you will be able to elaborate a little bit more about it, what the reason was, and why you think you should still be considered for the place at the University of Gloucestershire. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so we are still working on finalizing the deadlines, but as I mentioned earlier, we're encouraging early applications this year just to ensure that you have plenty of time to prepare for your suitability interview, arrange your outstanding documents, secure your place as well, and obviously apply for CAS, which is a visa letter for those of you who might not know, in plenty of time. We did face a considerable number of visa delays in various countries last year, unfortunately, and even for this intake, for January intake, we still have students waiting for visas, even though they applied using priority service. So as it happens, those delays may, happen from time to time. So to avoid having your, visa application being delayed by the UKVI, especially at the busy time, we do encourage for you to apply and to finalize your file at the soonest, and to obviously secure your CAS and apply for your visa. It will also help you to have sufficient time to consider various accommodation options. Obviously, we do recommend you to consider University of Gloucestershire own on-campus accommodation, but in case if you're looking elsewhere, maybe considering private accommodation, at least you have enough time, because again, when it comes to the peak season, accommodation would be also quite limited in terms of options available. Okay, all right, so next question from Abbas. So 1500 scholarship, is it automatic, or is there any criteria for this scholarship? Branka, would you like to take this question?
Absolutely. Thanks for that question, Abbas. So we basically have a merit-based scholarship, which is more of an application process that we've got. The automatic scholarship is definitely something that you don't have to make an application. It's an automatic. It will automatically reflect on your offer that you've secured this particular amount of scholarship. Now, when it comes to the merit-based scholarship, it's a £5,000 scholarship for a postgrad student and a £2,500 for an undergrad student per year. So if you're a postgrad student, it's basically that you need to have the first thing that you need to keep in mind that you need to have an offer letter in order to apply for this scholarship. So the first step is to make your application in, receive your offer letter, and once you have an offer letter from us, that's when you apply for this merit-based scholarship. Now, this is completely merit-based, so it basically means that there will be certain application, there will be certain requirements. So those requirements is your academic requirement. You need to have at least a minimum of 65 to qualify for these scholarships, and there will be an application that is something that you will have to put in. So there will be a couple of questions that you have to answer. Why do you feel that you deserve the scholarship? What are you going to get on board when you come to the university? So a couple of those questions that you will have to answer. Now, once you submit an application, the deadline will be on the 30th of April. Once you submit an application, the internal team is going to make a decision, and probably within a month's time, they will get back to you and confirm that whether you have been able to secure a scholarship or not. I hope that answers that question.
Perfect. Thank you, Priyanka. That's really useful. So consider questions in regards with entry criteria. So obviously it will depend which country you're coming from, where exactly you studied your previous qualification, but on average, and correct me, Asli and Priyanka, if I'm wrong, but I'm just looking at the entry criteria we have in place. It's around 55% for the bachelor's degree, so 55 to 60, obviously depending on the program, like I said, depending where you're coming from, that you will need to achieve for your bachelor's degree in case if you're applying for postgraduate. If you're applying for undergraduate, again, depending on the country you're coming from, you may need to do foundation. So the great thing about foundation at the University of Gloucestershire, it's actually integrated option, meaning that you can actually come on one CAS letter, which is one visa for 4 years. So you don't need to extend your visa year after year. So once you've completed your foundation successfully, you will then progress onto your bachelor's degree. So saving on stress and everything, and what's also related with visa cost and time consuming, etc. So you can just simply continue on to your first year of bachelor's degree. But if you are eligible to come for the first year of bachelor's degree, then amazing, you can simply apply directly for undergraduate degree. So for example, for students from India, we could consider higher secondary certificates or high secondary qualification. We consider certain boards. So again, you can reach out to my team on the ground and check on specific entry criteria, perhaps depending on the board you completed, but it's around 65%. And just also check which board is being accepted by the University of Gloucestershire. We also accept certain boards in India as a proof of English, which is amazing, meaning you don't need to take IELTS or another English test, which saves you time and money as well, which is great. So hopefully that answers your question on the entry criteria, but in case if you need further information, like I mentioned, please reach out to my team on the ground. They would be happy to help, or your educational agency in case if you're a student, and obviously they will be able to guide you further as well. There is a question on 2+2 degrees for MBA. Asli, I'm not sure if you came across 2+2 option.
Yes. I'm assuming that is a 2 years degree in India, or 2 years somewhere else, or 2 years degree with the college in India, and 2 years with another UK degree. So from the course point of view, as long as you have what we call an undergraduate degree, and we will be able to accept you to MBA Global, and I think you need to get 2.2, second lower, for you to be able to get into the MBA
Or
Global.
equivalent. Yeah,
Yep,
perfect.
or equivalent.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the question comes from Pakistan. And again, I'm just double checking on the entry criteria. And obviously there are different qualifications in Pakistan. So we can consider 2 years of bachelor's degree plus 2 years of master's degree with an average 55%, or like Asli said, equivalent to 2.2. Or depending on the duration of bachelor's you studied, you can also provide 3 years bachelor's degree plus 1 year master's degree. So again, it depends on your specific case. So you're more than welcome to file your application to GAS Gateway. So our admissions will make an initial assessment, or if you have any further questions, reach out obviously to my team on
I'll
the ground.
just pop in there.
Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. We are happy to accept 2+2 if the student is from Pakistan, and the average
Yeah.
that we require or look at will be a minimum of 55%.
Correct.
And we're also happy to accept the 3-year bachelor's degree. So, whatever works. And if you have a relevant work experience, we are more than happy to consider you at a master's level.
Perfect. All right. That's good to know. Thank you, Priyanka. Okay, so percentages and GPA, so that's been answered. exemptions from taking IELTS. So like I mentioned, depending where you're coming from. So for example, for India, we accept certain boards as a proof of English if you achieve 70% in English for those specific boards, and that could be considered for undergrad, postgrad, depending obviously when you complete it. Normally it's within 5 years limit. But also if you, let's say, studied bachelor's degree in what's considered English speaking country as per the UKVI, so for example, if you studied your bachelor's degree in the UK or maybe in the US or Australia, so that could also be potentially considered as a proof of English, and it doesn't really have an expiry date, unlike IELTS, which is only valid for 2 years, as we know. So yeah, could be different options. But other than that, the university actually accepts a number of English tests. So again, you're welcome to reach out to my team or your educational agency or advisor, and they can guide you further on the English tests that are being accepted by the university. I guess most of the students would probably prefer censor-based, but there are also some line options available if it's a little bit more convenient for you. Okay. Any interviews? Yeah, so interview would be conducted by in-uni interview team, and that would be done, as I mentioned, at the conditional offer letter stage, and before we can proceed your case for unconditional offer letter. So the sooner you book your interview, so as soon as you receive your conditional offer letter, I suggest do not wait any further. Just go ahead, book your suitability interview. Obviously, ensure you have enough time to prepare for your interview, and you can always request for mock session. The team has availability currently and would be happy to assist. Once we have received a positive interview outcome, so it's a pass by in uni team, we obviously then run it by the University of Gloucestershire compliance team, but we also try to streamline the process and refer your case for unconditional offer letter as well. Depending on the program, for business school, I think we have quite a quick turnaround time, unless it's an intricate case or anything specific that needs to be considered by academics. So normally the university should be able to provide unconditional within 3 to 5 working days, unless it's courses that may require portfolio or academic would need to consider anything further. But again, to reiterate, when it comes to busy time, obviously it may take a little longer. So we do recommend to supply all the documents and the interview at the soonest to avoid any delays later on. Okay, can you let us know deferral process for both paid and unpaid students? Right. Okay, Pranka, would you like to take this question? I mean, we had few deferrals here within the uni. For some of them, I think we just needed to file a new application from our side. Would the university normally expect a fresh application? Would the email be just sufficient, or does it depend on the case, if it's paid, unpaid?
I think if in the case of if it's paid, we're more than happy to defer. The student just has to let us know that they want to defer the applications or the offer letter to the next intake. And it should be fine. Of course, there will be few things that we will have to look into, picture that, whether the IELTS is still valid by the time they're getting deferred, by the time they will be on board with us, they need to have a valid documentation. If all of these documentations are valid, we're more than happy to defer the application. If in case, the documents expires by the time you're getting a deferral, in that case, there will be a possibility that you'll have to either resubmit a new application or just, resubmit the new document, that has expired. But it's just an email that they have to drop us an email and we should be able to do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, I guess it maybe also depends on the case, because we had some cases where admissions requested a new application to be submitted. So I guess case by case, but do reach out to us, and we're always happy to double check with the university just to make sure we follow the right process, and also try obviously to streamline the process where possible again. Tagging. All right. Okay. So really, really important, as I mentioned earlier, that all applications are filed via GAS Gateway portal. So please do not submit applications via the university website or any other channels. If you're a student, obviously, you normally supply all the documents and submit application with your educational agency, and then they file application via GAS Gateway, just to make sure that everything is done as per the established and agreed process with the university, and the tagging is done, and there is no issue. In terms of the agent change request, normally, if it's internal within GAS in uni, we can look into that. You would need to provide an authorization form, the email from the student, ideally from the email ID that was used for the application itself, confirming which agency you would like to use, and then my team would also reach out to the student just to check on the same, and obviously speak also to relevant partners to make sure that you know, they deal with the student, or whoever doesn't deal with the student any longer. Obviously, we would need to update our system accordingly. The next question is about refund process. Priyanka, would you be able to advise on that? And what's the turnaround time on that?
So to be honest, the refund will take a little longer as compared to, you know, the other process, because it's something that we need to make sure that it's going back to the same account from which has come. So one thing to keep in mind, to keep a tab of the account that has made the payment. So for example, if you've used somebody's else account to make a transfer to the university, the funds is going to go back to the same person's account. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. I will say a tentative of 4 to 6 weeks is something that you can look for a refund. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you, Priyanka. Sorry, I just need to put my computer on charge. Okay, great. Thank you. And what would be the minimum deposit for 2024? Priyanka, would you like to take this question?
Absolutely. So the minimum deposit that we need is £5,500 in order for you to secure a spot with us. So just make sure that you have, you know, this amount deposit by the deadline that we have.
Perfect. All right, thank you. And just to reiterate, in case if it's your first maybe application for the UK, or if you, in case if you're not sure, so 5,500 is obviously CAS deposit. You will need to have outstanding tuition fees for the first year minus 1,500, obviously, which is automatic scholarship, on your bank account, along with living costs as per the UKVI. So just follow UKVI guideline, or your agency would be able to guide you on that as well. So you will need to have the total amount, so living costs plus the outstanding tuition fees for the first year, on your bank account for at least 28 days before you can request CAS. And obviously, once CAS is issued, it's important you apply for visa straight away, because bank statement is only valid for 1 month. So it's important you use your valid bank statement when submitting your visa application as well. But as Priyanka mentioned, CAS deposit to secure your place is only 5,500, which is quite competitive comparing to UK universities. So that would be needed at the time of your unconditional offer letter issuance. So we do encourage students to pay at unconditional offer letter stage, just so that, you know, in case of any issues with your outstanding documents or interviews, you don't then have to go through the refund, which, as Priyanka mentioned, may take a little time. So ideally, just wait for your unconditional to be issued and then proceed with your CAS deposit. And obviously within the deadlines once we have them announced. But the earlier you arrange that, the earlier you are able to apply for your CAS and apply for your visa. The great thing about applying to the UK universities is you can actually secure your CAS, so you can apply for your CAS 6 months prior to the start date of the program, which is great. So that gives you enough time to get your CAS issued, and then to apply for your visa as well, to secure your accommodation, etc., without, you know, going into mad rush. So around end of March, I'd say April time, the universities should start, you know, issuing CASs for September intake. So depending obviously on the start date of the program. Now there is a question on CAS turnaround time. Well, actually, University of Gloucestershire is very organized when it comes to the CAS issuance. So compliance team works like a clock. They use really good system called CAS Shield, which is basically a portal for you and for your students to upload all documents required for CAS itself, and then you can actually track the progress on your cars. But normally the issue cars, depending how busy they are, and they normally would be able to issue cars within 5 to 10 working days, I'd say maximum. But this, again, the earlier you apply, the quicker that will be. So English requirements, again, depends on the program. So I suggest you just double check with my team or your advisor. You can also see the university's website and check the course specific information perhaps and entry criteria, and see which English criteria you need to go by. Did you want to add anything on that, Priyanka?
Yes, Dagina, thank you. So in terms of the English, there are a couple of boards in India, so for example, the CBSE board, the Maharashtra State Board, Tamil Nadu State Board, it's all on the website. Do have a look. We give an, IELTS waiver if a student has a 70 and above in their 12th grade. So that's going to be there. But keep in mind that the student needs to have this degree done it's 5 years before the course start date. So for example, if a student wants to start in 2024, they basically need to they must have done their 12th in 2019. So it needs to be at the bracket of 5 years. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, be more than happy to accept the other IELTS, TOEFL, PT. Those are the other examination that we accept as well. But yeah, I hope that helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. That's helpful. Okay, we have more questions. I like the audience today, really, really engaging. Loads and lots of questions. Azli, that's a question for you. Is there an age limit for postgraduate programs at UOG?
No, as long as they have undergraduate degree and fulfill the requirements. There's no age limit. Like I mentioned today, we just now we have students up the age 52 so far. Yeah, the oldest one so far is 52. The youngest probably about 21. The youngest, certain aspects of it you may need to have some sort of working experience. But they're doing fine. They're doing well.
Perfect. That's really good to know. And that's what I also like when I visited University of Gloucestershire. It's a great mix, not only in terms of, like you mentioned, nationality, but also background and ages as well. And it's great, I think, learning curve for both those who maybe more on the fresh graduate side to those with considerable experience, because they can learn from each other sitting in the same classroom as well. And there's lots of support from academics too. So that leads also on to the next question, whether work experience is required for MBA or not. I know if for some programs, for example, I know for international business MSc, in case if students do not have relevant academic background, then certain work experience would be expected for a few years. So again, reach out to my team to understand a bit more. What about MBA, Azli?
I think as usual, you need to have the undergraduate degree. If better for you to have some working experience. If you do not have undergraduate degree, just relying on the work experience to go to MBA, I'll be honest, you're going to struggle a little bit, because you need to have that some academic background as well. So that's my view on that. But we do reach out to we look at it case by case basis. I guess that's the my answer to this. We look at it case by case basis, then we'll see how you're going to cope with that. Okay,
that's helpful. And there was also a question about the intake. So obviously the main intake is in September, but then there was also January intake depending on the program. We do have April intake for DBA, which is the soonest coming intake, I guess, if you still would like to apply, but you need to do it as soon as possible because DBA takes a little bit longer. We will have a specific to DBA webinar tomorrow, the same time, 11 a.m. UK time. So please do join that webinar so you can learn a little bit more on DBA program, because I consider it DBA related questions there. Very good question. Do you need to pay initial deposit to attend suitability interview? No, the answer is you do not have to pay deposit, which is great. I know some universities do charge minimum deposit or cost deposit for students to be actually able to attend suitability interview. We at InUni, and together with, in partnership with the University of Gloucestershire, we do not charge students before attending the interview. So the great thing is you can book your suitability interview without paying any deposit. Once you pass your interview, we will then refer your case for unconditional offer letter. And then once you've received your unconditional offer letter, you will need to go ahead and pay your deposit of 5,500 to secure your place and also to be able to request cost letter. So hopefully that answers your question, Kavana. Okay, so I think that's a similar one, 2-year bachelor's, 2 years master's. I think if it's from Pakistan, yes, absolutely, we can consider that. So as it was mentioned earlier, it's at 55%, but if it's any other country, maybe any other background, please double check with my team on the ground or your educational advisor. They will be happy to help. If the student don't get the scholarship, I mean, £1,500 scholarship is automatic, so you wouldn't get rejected for that scholarship anyway. If you meant the academic merit scholarship, no, it's fine. If you don't receive it for any reason, you can still have your £1,500 scholarship and proceed with your offer further and obviously finalize your admissions. Okay, good question, Khushbu. Yes, absolutely. The University of Gloucestershire does accept students from Punjab and Haryana in India. So again, do reach out to my team on the ground in case of further questions on that. And depending obviously on the course your students are interested in, they would need to meet certain criteria. And obviously it's important that they've completed certain boards, depending if they're applying for bachelor's or undergraduate degree. So that would need to be taken into account as well. But in terms of just answering your question, yes, we could consider those states and those regions as well for admission. Priyanka, would you like to take this question? Because I know there have been some changes to the tuition fees at the University of Gloucestershire. What's the tuition fee for postgrad and undergrads without scholarship?
Right. So in terms of the fee structure, it will again vary, if you're applying for an undergrad course, or if you're applying for a postgrad course, or you're applying for an MBA course. This will range somewhere around 16,000 to up to 17,800 pounds. I can give an exact fees in the chat box for you guys to have a understanding of this fee structure.
Perfect. Thank you. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Excellent. There were questions in regards with specific qualification. Again, depending on the program you're applying for, depending where you're applying from, and application via GAS Gateway, in case if you're not sure, or speak to the team on the ground, they will be happy to assist, and we can take it from there. Okay, so defer process, I think we answered that question already. 2 years BA, 2 years masters, we've answered that for Pakistan. Total fee, so Priyanka will share the link. Okay, for postgraduate, undergraduate, tuition fees. Double master. So in case if you did study master's degree previously and now applying for another master's, obviously you will need to provide a very strong personal statement to justify as to why you need second master's, and obviously it shouldn't be exactly the same subjects. So for example, if you studied MBA already in India, now applying for another MBA, that might be questionable. And also we want to avoid any possibility of visa rejection from the UKVI side. But if you're applying for another master's and you can justify as to why you need another master's, maybe you studied master's, let's say, in finance, but now you want to come and study MBA, and that kind of shows academic progression as well, or maybe your company requires you to do so. So you will just need to explain it a little bit further, so that can be considered on case-by-case basis. I don't know, Asli, if you wanted to add anything to that, maybe.
Yes, Dagina, you have answered it correctly, perfectly. that yes, we try to avoid the having what we call a double qualification on the same subject. Say, for example, if you already have an MBA, you can apply for MSc International Business or HR or Marketing, for example. You know, it needs to be a different qualification. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. All right. So there are questions in regards with study gap. So again, that would be case by case, but normally, I think we'll look into having around 5 years study gap, Priyanka, for undergrad. Is it correct? And for postgrad, could it go up to 10 years, perhaps?
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, yeah. It is on case by case basis, but we will accept 10 years or maybe even more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in this case, it's going to be worth understanding why the student wants to come back and, you know, want to pursue their education again.
Yep.
So personal statement is going to play a very important role, where you need to specify that, you know, what are you really looking out for, you know, in this particular course? How is this course really going to help you in future? You know, so a very strong personal statement is something that we will want to see in such applications.
Okay, understood. Thank you. So anything you have in terms of the study gap, it's really, really important that it's justified. So you will need to highlight within CV what you have been doing, even if you maybe completed your studies, let's say 2021, but up until now you've been preparing for IELTS maybe, or you've taken a part-time job, or maybe did some volunteering experience. You just need to mention everything within your CV, and it needs to be up to date. We will have a separate session on the document requirements and expectations alongside in uni suitability interview session, which is coming up next week, I believe. Yes, for UG. So please do join that session. It will be definitely useful for you, for your team, if you're an educational agency, or if you're a student, to actually prepare for the interview and to ensure you submit correct documents meeting the criteria and the expectations of in uni and the university as well. Okay, there is a question. Kindly confirm if the relevant work experience during undergraduate studies can be considered to join Global MBA. Asli?
Yes, it can.
Perfect. That's
Yep.
really good. And also, actually, that's a really good question and leads me onto another point. In case if you are an undergraduate applicant, so you're applying for bachelor's degree, whether it's foundation or direct entry first year. University of Gloucestershire also offers what we call in the UK a sandwich year. So that's an additional year of work experience, which will be added to your bachelor's degree. Normally you do it after 2 years of bachelor's degree during 3rd year. And then your bachelor's is extended from 3 years into 4 years, meaning your visa will be longer as well. So it will be given for 4 years for bachelor's degree. But it's a great opportunity for you to actually gain soft skills, to gain that experience in the UK normally, and to also get paid during that year, because most of companies would pay you as a full-time employee. You wouldn't study normally during that year, but the great also advantage is you will be able to potentially then secure a full-time job upon graduation. So once you've completed your final year of bachelor's degree, and obviously secure your full-time job straight after your bachelor's degree. Sometimes students even do it within the same company if they've proven themselves and the employer likes them, so they could offer them a full-time employment afterwards. And to remind to everyone, great thing about coming to study in the UK, you will be eligible for a graduate route. What they call it now is for the UK VI, which is ultimately post-study work visa for 2 years if you completed undergraduate or postgraduate degree. If you've completed DBA, so or research program PhD, for instance, you will be eligible for 3 years work visa, and it doesn't require you to have a job offer per se to secure that visa. You just need to ensure you've successfully graduated from a UK university, and you can apply for that type of visa afterwards and gain your work experience in the UK. Two, share the amount to pay to get car. So we've answered that question. That's 5,500. Okay, so there are some questions around how many days university will issue offer letter. So again, it depends obviously how busy the university is. So if you apply now, you are more likely to secure your offer letter much quicker. So we do encourage you to do so. So initial offer letter could be issued from 2 working days if obviously you've submitted the right documents up to 5 working days, and then the same goes to unconditional. But to receive unconditional, you would need to pass the interview first, as it was mentioned earlier. There are some questions in regards with academic, some merit-based scholarships. I think you've mentioned that, Priyanka, previously already, but is there anything else you want to elaborate on? Because they're asking about percentage. If they're applying, for example, for LLM program, does it matter which program they're applying for in terms of the academic scholarship and how it is being considered?
All right. So in terms of the merit-based scholarship, whether you apply for LLM course or, any other courses, even in sports, in business, engineering, the requirement remains the same. It's a 65%. That's going to be the minimum requirement. That will be a criteria for you to qualify for that particular scholarship. So that's going to be the first step for you to qualify. So you need to have a good academic background. So that's, how you qualify for the course. Second thing is, for the scholarship. The second thing is that you need to have an offer letter from us, and the third thing will be your scholarship essay. So you have to answer the scholarship essays. The links are all on the website, so you can just go through the website. The team is going to help you and support you with all of those process, but it's your essay which is going to play an important role in terms of how do you feel that you're a eligible candidate. What impact will you bring when you're on campus? What is the kind of skills that you have to hold that particular scholarship? So it's going to be more of understanding that what is you looking as an individual from the university. So yeah, there's more details on the website, so feel free to just pop into the website and just get some more details there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Priyanka. That's helpful. So some questions I consider the same, which we've already answered. So deposit will be required after the interview and after you've received your unconditional offer letter, so not before the interview. Haryana, Punjab in India, yes, we do consider those applicants. So you'll just need to check the entry criteria depending whether you're applying for undergrad or postgrad. Average tuition fee. So I think Priyanka shared the link, but we will also include it within the follow-up email and recording. So you can look into that. Duolingo, unfortunately, Duolingo is not being accepted by, I think, majority of UK universities now. It was mainly accepted during COVID time, but no longer. And I know many students prefer now to go for center-based test. So just double check with the team on the ground or your advisor as to which English test could be considered. And you can also look up on the university's website. Okay, so MBA top-up program or MSc top-up program. It's mainly for students who completed postgraduate diploma, or maybe they did ACCA, which is accounting qualification, completed certain number of papers. Asli, is there any other requirements that students need to consider when applying for top-up?
Yes, you need to have what we call a postgraduate diploma. It can be from postgraduate diploma professional qualifications, ACCA, or you have a postgraduate diploma from Pearson, or I cannot remember. There's another provider. But as long as you got a postgraduate diploma level 7, then you can apply for the MBA top-up.
Perfect, thank you. Can students apply for MBA? So I guess it's a regular MBA without any experience.
For the MBA Global, we look at it into if you got outstanding undergraduate results, then we look at it case by case basis, Dagina.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
All right, how many rounds of interviews? Okay, good question. So normally you are allowed to attend interview once, but there are some instances where students might have been a little bit nervous, or there were maybe connection issues. So interview team would not just simply reject you in those cases. If they see potential and you just need to prepare maybe a little bit better and maybe just to calm the nerves down or improve on the technical side of things, they would allow a second attempt. So I do strongly recommend to perhaps go through mock sessions with my team first, just to understand what the interview is about, what you need to prepare, and so that you're a little bit more relaxed. But the interview team is also there to support you. They will try to make you as relaxed as possible by having that conversation. And also please do attend that webinar I mentioned, which is next week, on uni suitability interviews for the University of Gloucestershire. So that should help you too. Financial documents, yes, they're normally required for CAS purposes. And as I mentioned earlier, you will need to ensure you have sufficient funds to demonstrate outstanding tuition fees for the first year plus a living cost. They need to be maintained for at least 28 consecutive days, and bank statements are only valid for 1 month. State boards can get IELTS waiver. Okay, so depending on the state board, there is a number of boards we do accept for English waivers. It was mentioned earlier as well. If you achieve 70%, so do reach out to the team on the ground or your education advisor just to double check which boards those are. You can also find the information on UOG website. Language cert, yes, it is accepted, and the university does consider center-based and the online-based option, from what I remember off the top of my head. But if there are obviously any entry criteria at some point, we normally do inform our network as well. Okay, Pakistan too, I think we've already answered that. GAP, we already answered on study GAP. So again, case by case, students could be considered with a study gap, but just ensure that obviously any gap is justified. Punjab, Haryana, we've already answered that. It's a study gap again. Okay, so again, on the full list of English tests, you can double check with the team on the ground or online. So I consider lots of questions on the same. Matured savings forecast, yes, you would need to provide bank statement, like I mentioned, which demonstrates you have maintained the required amount for 28 consecutive days at least, and that is UKVI requirement as well. There is a program about MA education. There is specific scholarship. Priyanka, are you aware of that? I don't think I've come across.
Sorry, could you repeat that? The MA education scholarship?
Yeah, so they're saying there is a scholarship for MA education for students from Pakistan.
Yes, that's going to be for Pakistan and Bangladesh students. That's a £10,000 scholarship. It's a Great British scholarship that we have. It's just for one student from Pakistan and one student from Bangladesh. The course is education and MA scholarships. Yeah. Yes, right.
All right, so it's only one for one student, literally. Okay, but the great thing is, like I mentioned, obviously your automatic scholarship of 1,500 is there for all programs. I think it only excludes DBA, right? Everything else, that scholarship is applicable. It's automatic. You don't need to worry about submitting a separate application for scholarship. Tuition fees are already quite competitive, and don't forget, University of Gloucestershire is based outside of London, which makes it much more affordable in terms of the living cost comparing to London. So to give you an idea, for example, if you're looking to study in central London and live in central London, the accommodation would be at least, I'd say, well, that's from there's £1,500 and higher, probably much higher right now. I would say around 2K, depending on the type of accommodation as well. But if you're studying at the University of Gloucestershire, which is only 2 hours from London, to be fair, and it's also within 45 minutes to 1 hour to big cities like Birmingham, Bristol as well, and you will be paying much, much less. We're talking under £200 per week, and again, depending which type of accommodation you go for, you might find something cheaper, or if you're going for a bit of a luxury, and obviously might be a little bit high, but it's much more affordable, so lots of savings for you. Cost for £5,500 deposit, yes, correct, Neha. Any sort of program or research program? Okay, good question. Yes, as per the UKBI latest update, you can only bring dependents if you have applied for a research program. For example, DBA would be one of them. PhD would be another option as well. So if you're applying for any of those programs, yes, absolutely, you can bring dependents. And once you have graduated, you would also be eligible for 3 years graduate route, which is ultimately post-study work visa. But we will be talking a bit more on research program, DBA program tomorrow, so you can learn about that option in more details if that's a program that you are considering. English language test requirements, again, it depends on the program you're applying for, which English language test that you're considering, but the regular ones, IELTS, Pearson, can be considered. Language cert, I think there was a question for Pakistan. Language cert is quite popular in Pakistan, so that's something that the university also could consider. If someone has done ACCA, would they be eligible for MBA program? I guess it depends how many ACCA papers they completed, right?
Yeah. If you have a full ACCA, obviously you can go for ACCA or CIMA. You can go for MBA Global program, which is a full-time program. We do accept ACCA to do MBA top-up master stage, and there might be a certain conditions where we put you to do only a research on accounting management or something along to justify that you get the MBA. I think so make the applications, then we look at it from there. But for the MBA top up, it depends also what the course leader is thinking. The course leader is Julian Grail, and yeah. So what I gotta say is that you make the application, and we do accept them. Thank you.
Thank you. Amount to pay for CAT undergrad, it's exactly the same as postgrad, so it's 5,500 across the board. On scholarships, I think we've answered that question already. Yes, it's 5,500 for everyone, and like I said, for UG, PG, there are certain questions on the specific qualification. So again, you would need to double check. You can check with the team on the ground as well to see which program, obviously, you're applying for, which qualifications that you are supplying, what's the requirement for that specific qualification. But if not sure, you can always submit the document that you have to my team on the ground, and we will then check with admissions at the university as well, just to have a bit more of understanding on your specific case. Or you can obviously submit your application via GAS Gateway, and our admissions will take it from there and make an initial assessment as well. IELTS waiver for those with ACCA background, well, it needs to be the actual bachelor's degree, and it needs to be taught in English-speaking countries. So if a student studied ACCA, obviously it's not necessarily a bachelor's degree, and also it depends where they studied. If they studied in, let's say, in Pakistan, obviously that wouldn't be considered as a proof of English, unfortunately. Open School Board, Priyanka, do you know much about Open School Board?
Yes, Sagina, I think we'll be happy to accept the open school boarding as well. Again, it depends that what was the student doing, because open school boarding is kind of a part-time that the students do. So we want to understand, okay, what was the student doing apart from this period of time? So a detailed application is something we would like to see, but we are more than happy to accept those qualifications as well.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
And is it the same for Open University?
It's actually the same. It's the National Open School schooling, which is based in India. I'm sure they have that question. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because there were two separate questions. I just wanted to double
Yeah.
check. And just remind us, I guess, in terms of the online degree. So if somebody studied degree, let's say online, would that be considered as well?
Again, it depends. We will have to check whether it's been from an accredited boards or the schools or the universities. If yes, then we are more than happy to accept those applications. So again, it will differ case to case basis. And again, needs to have a very strong applications because it's not a full time and it's, more online delivered. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. I think we've covered most of the questions, but in case if we missed anything, that was a lot of questions, which is great. So thank you so much for being such an engaging audience. Really appreciate it. But if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to your education advisor or to my team on the ground who would be happy to help. We're having a series of webinars for the University of Gloucestershire and uni, as mentioned, on suitability interviews, admissions, in the coming days and weeks. So please stay tuned for more information on those webinars, and we really hope to see you there. Thank you so much, Asli and Pranka, really helpful session. And thank you, Anand, for helping us to run this webinar as well. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dagina, and thank you in uni for all the support that you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.